All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Busy morning already, but we're ready to get it going here. Let's get the stream going here. All right. Oh, already a busy afternoon. Storms have pretty much exploded over eastern Nebraska, now moved into Iowa. We now have a PDS tornado watch that's in effect for much of Iowa, also southeast Minnesota, a little bit of Wisconsin, and then also the northwesternmost counties in Illinois. We also have a new tornado watch that covers western Missouri, eastern Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, and the far northwestern counties in Arkansas right now. And some newer storms have developed further down here in eastern Oklahoma. Right now, none of them are severe, but we're monitoring that area all the way with storms possible all the way back down to Dallas, Fort Worth. We have live tornadoes in progress, so I won't take too long with the overall meteorology of today, but essentially we have a moderate risk that covers much of Iowa, most of the areas that's under the PDS tornado watch. Much of Iowa, southwest Wisconsin, southeast Minnesota, western Illinois, and then northern Missouri. We also have a larger enhanced risk that covers much of basically Wisconsin. That's not in the moderate risk. The Chicago area, as well as the areas around Lake Michigan, all the way down to areas here just north and west of St. Louis, down into southwest Missouri, Kansas City area, Topeka, and then back towards Lincoln. Although pretty much Lincoln, after this line has moved through you guys are pretty much clear, much more clear here for today. That then slight risk goes all the way down into the hill country of Texas. I would say a little better chance here is going to be Dallas and points north and east of Dallas. Also includes areas around Little Rock, southeast Missouri, southern Illinois, even up into areas here around Lansing, Michigan. We have a slight risk. That actually goes all the way up to the UP, as well as northern Wisconsin, the Minneapolis area, and then back a little bit south and west of there. So quite a large area of severe weather. Also have a small chance of severe weather even in the northeast today, with some scattered right now sub-severe strong storms in kind of upstate New York, moving into mostly Vermont, New Hampshire, and a little bit of Maine. So even one down here, though south of Albany, looks a little punchy. So we may get a few severe warnings out of the northeast this afternoon, but primarily we're concerned here with the really all hazards threat that's ongoing here in the Midwest. So we're going to dive in. I have a couple tornadoes that have already been confirmed today. One actually just near this camera that we have in the corner here near Red Hook along US 34. So it's already been a busy day. The best chance I think for more individual supercell thunderstorms is going to be now through about 5 to 7 o'clock Central Time. After that, it's really going to be much more of a linear threat with winds and primarily actually winds as the primary threat. But until then, we have actually all hazards, especially large hail, damaging winds, all that good stuff. Quite a large area here of basically where the PDS tornado watch is, of possibilities of strong tornadoes. But there's a 5% tornado chance that goes all the way down into eastern Oklahoma. So we should be pretty busy this afternoon here. Quickly, I'll show you the wind threat. Damaging wind threat is very high, especially, well, basically all of Iowa, but especially eastern Iowa into western Missouri, or western Illinois, northeast Missouri, and also southwest Wisconsin. That damaging wind threat may extend later into the Chicago area. That, I think, over the day has pushed a little bit more east. So the Storm Prediction Center is seeing that the likelihood of a stronger severe weather event further east into Madison, Milwaukee, and Chicago. That's damaging winds. And then also a pretty significant large hail threat. A lot of that, like I said, is going to be especially before things become linear, when these storms have more supercell characteristics, that's where I think we're going to get our largest hail. Probably in this area, I would guess it's going to be south of I-80 and likely west of I-35, but even down in the Kansas City area, we could see some larger hail. And then there's a hatched area of hail all the way down into the hill country. So especially down here, that's the primary threat. If we do get any storms that develop down here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it'll be the hail threat is the main threat down there. But we could see some larger hail even into the Chicago area, much of western and northern Illinois, St. Louis, and then down into areas here in eastern Oklahoma. So quite a large area of severe weather. All right, I'm going to turn off all of our severe weather outlooks, and I'm going to get into the radar here. As I mentioned earlier, we have ongoing tornadoes. One was just near our camera here, reported by emergency management. Tornado on the ground near the Red Oak Airport. Those storms have they're moving very fast today. They've quickly moved off here now east of Red Oak. And we can quickly look and see if there is a tornado ongoing. It would be in this area right here. Maybe something still in there. Yeah, that is going to be our tornado right in here. You can see what it came across the Red Oak area. It's now lifted up. And it's going to be over here near Carbon. Okay, that's it right there. Yep, there it is right here. Just passing north of Carbon here. So if you're out here near Mount Etna, this is all in Iowa right now. Dewey, Galede, Fisk, Orient, Fontanelle, Greenfield. You guys all need to be taking your tornado safety precautions. We have an ongoing damaging tornado right here with a debris signature. So starting off here, the stream, we're starting off with already a damaging tornado on the ground here. We can see the CC drop just south of Lincoln Center and north of Carbon. You guys all need to be in your safe space. This is headed up towards Iowa 148, Mount Etna area. And it's kind of sitting back here in the rain, so probably a rain wrap tornado. I have another circulation here coming up towards Quincy and Corning. That may be on the ground as well. Let's see. Could be clear air if that if the CC hasn't coincided with that. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Get another update here. That I think is on the ground as well. That looks like it's another tornado. That's headed up towards Quincy and Prescott. So we got two ongoing tornadoes. Actually, really side by side. One north of Carbon. And one south of Carbon, both moving northeast very quickly here. That's why we're going to see a lot of these warnings go out quite ahead of where the tornadoes are. And yeah, they just updated this one to a confirmed tornado as well. So that is what we saw here. All right, yeah, we have two ongoing damaging tornadoes on the ground. They're in the side-by-side storms here, moving quickly to the north and east. So areas around Corning, Prescott, Creston, Iowa, up towards Orient. Zooming in here, Bridgewater, Fontanelle, Greenfield, Messina, and certainly Carbon. You guys need to be in your safe space here. Since they did just update this, we should be yeah, moving northeast at 55. So you don't have a lot of time out in front of this. I know sometimes we see like a big warning like this, and say, you know, people out here, say near Orion or Maxburg, you know, you guys got 40 minutes or something like that. You do not have that time today. So if you see yourself in a warning today, and you think, oh, that tornado is, you know, 5 towns away, it's going to take a while to get here. Do not think that today. These things are moving close to highway speed, so they're going to be on you pretty quick here, you know, even on the extent of the warning towards Orient, Maxburg, Greenfield, Fontanelle, Bridgewater. North sides of Creston, Iowa would be in your safe space as well. 2 ongoing damaging tornadoes. Particularly that northern storm has a history of producing tornadoes. It produced one over Red Oak area, the airport, a little bit ago. Also some larger hail in those storms. Interesting presentation actually of these storms. But yeah, we have 2, looks like, ongoing damaging tornadoes here in kind of north, or I guess southwest Iowa. Over the Corning Municipal Airport, moving northeast at 55. And our other one is located over Hackleberry Woods County Park, 10 miles west of Corning, moving northeast at 60. This is a PDS warning. So, PDS tornado warning here in Iowa. Yeah, pretty much if you're behind this line, so good news here. Some good news so far is Omaha. You guys kind of got through the worst of it. Mostly hail and wind came across the Omaha area, although this morning this area had a ton of rain from early morning storms. Parts of the Omaha metro got, I think, like 6 or 7 inches of rain, so there's an ongoing flooding situation in parts of eastern Nebraska, southern Iowa. But at least the severe weather, Omaha, you guys are good for the evening. So an area that's been hit pretty hard with severe weather in the last month, Omaha, you guys are good to go. New tornado warning here, north of the storms that we're following, ongoing damaging tornadoes. Wow, that is a look on CC. We have 2 super defined CC balls just rolling next to each other. So if you're up out ahead of this, Orient, Bridgewater, Fontanelle, Greenfield, Cromwell, Creston, especially Creston points north, you guys really need to be in your tornado safe space, and don't be, you know, over here and think, oh, I'm going to get split by these. You know, they can meander a little bit, so we want to be in your safe space here. If you're anywhere in these 2 warnings, the one is a PDS warning. Mount Etna, Dewey, Galede, Williamson, Nevinville, Fisk, some of the smaller communities, Spalding, Zion. I think I named pretty much every community in this warning area. But yeah, if you're anywhere in this area, Messina down to Creston, and Greenfield down to Creston, you guys need to be in your safe space. Let's check on our newest tornado warning. It's in this area near Exira. Yeah, this is a pretty defined little couplet here. Let's see if this is on the ground. Maybe. There's a couple CC drops already showing up. And this is going to be another one that's going to be, if it is on the ground, wrapped in the rain. It's out here just on the east side of Exira, Iowa. It's going to be moving quickly up towards North Branch, Gardner, Kenfield. If it's not on the ground yet, and it is on the ground. So there we go. This should be it right here. So this one is not kicking up a ton of debris at the moment, but we are seeing the CC drops. It's headed up towards the North Branch, Iowa area here. And this may be also confirmed by a spotter. Let's see. No, it's radar confirmed, damaging tornado. Okay, so they're seeing the CC drop like I just saw here. And that's good enough for them. There it is, right here, just east of Exira. Not seeing a deep CC, but there's still some CC drops right in here. So it may just be in a, basically empty field right now. As soon as it crosses a line of trees, we may see the debris signature pick up. So this is moving up towards Gardner, North Branch, Wichita, Iowa, Guthrie Center, Panora, Yale, Fanslers, Bayard, and Bagley here in kind of west central Iowa here along and north of I-80. And good news, the circulation is north of I-80 right now. I want to go back to these two storms. Seeing a really good circulation here in this storm near Corning. And yeah, still seeing a deep CC drop, a big CC drop. Our northern circulation may be weakening. The CC drop doesn't look as big, and the velocity scan doesn't look as tight as the signature as we saw just a few minutes ago. But check this out. If you're just joining us here, I see we got some viewers coming into the chat. These two storms are basically going side by side, with the first one producing a tornado first. And then very quickly, here's the first tornado. Here is your second debris signature in the southern tornado. And then we're watching both storms with two big CC drops moving north and east very quickly side by side. The southern one, the newer of the tornado-warned storms between these two, has looked a little more impressive here in the last few scans. The other circulation is still up here along 148. And then the stronger of the two is just east of 148. This is, again, Orient. You guys need to be in your safe space. And then also Bridgewater, Fontanelle, Greenfield. You guys need to be in your safe space. Okay, we're back. I just had to blow my nose. Was just outside a few minutes ago, and the allergies in a lot of parts of the country are pretty bad right now, so I'm sure you guys know. If you hear some weird noises in the background, I got the dogs in the studio today, so just, yeah, if you hear some weird slurping noises, it's not me today. But, alright, let's continue. So it looks like we still have some damaging tornadoes on the ground here. The northern one may have lifted, but this southern one is still going here with a still deep debris ball. And you can see here, this is in an area of precipitation, so we would expect to not have a CC drop like this. So this shows that this is an ongoing damaging tornado headed up towards Orient and Greenfield right now. And let's see, this is another PDS tornado warning. So right now we have 2 ongoing PDS tornado warnings for damaging tornadoes around Carl, coming up to Glebe, Williamson, Nevinville, Fisk, at Orient, Bridgewater, Fontanelle, Greenfield. I've been calling your name since we started the stream. Hopefully you guys are in your safe space here. Safe space is lowest interior room away from doors and windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you have a storm shelter or basement and can get below ground, that is even better. This is a pretty big debris ball, so especially if you can get below ground into a basement or storm shelter, please do that. I know a lot of times you may not want to get into the storm shelter. It may be buggy, cobwebby, dark and damp, and you know you're going to get your clothes dirty, but that is a better option than staying above ground if you're out ahead of this thing. So Glebe, Williamson, Nevinville, Fisk, Orient. This is coming up towards you guys here out of the Carl, Iowa area. Again, we're seeing a deep debris signature with the CC drop here. We're seeing strong velocities, very strong velocity couplet. It's back here kind of in the rain, so you're not going to see it coming. But these are really high, or I guess really low correlation coefficient values. We're seeing these reds. Essentially, the radar is kind of maxed out on the value there when we're seeing those reds like that. The values go blue to black and gray. And once we're seeing past the black, that's these red values here. That means there's no correlation here. So we're seeing essentially the radar is scanning. The radar is scanning these clouds and seeing rain. And if it sees rain, it shows up like over here around Nevinville. It shows up in this pink color. When we start to see yellows and greens, a lot of times that indicates hail. It may show, you know, a bunch of raindrops and then, you know, a couple big hailstones. But then when we start seeing blues, blacks, and then no value like the red, that means, you know, there's 2x4s in there, there's trees, there's some raindrops, there's maybe a little bit of hail, you know, there's a nail. So we're seeing all kinds of stuff in here, and that is what's correlating to this area here, is we're seeing this kind of stuff. We're not seeing this, and we're not seeing this. So we're not seeing meteorological targets, we're seeing non-meteorological targets. The storm to its south just got an observed tornado warning. Damaging tornado over Prescott. This is now 6 miles east of Corning, so let's check this out here. Okay, there it is right here. It's approaching Prescott. So that is coming up here quickly towards Prescott, Cromwell, Creston, Spalding, Zion, Maxburg, Hebron. Essentially, if you're out ahead of this line, so if you're up here, Prussia, Greenfield, Hebron, Zion, Maxburg, it's time to take your tornado safety precautions. Just take them now. That way you don't have to do it, you know, when things are getting rushed here. So one damaging tornado here, one damaging tornado here, an old damaging tornado here. I don't think we're seeing that one on the ground anymore, but we see this one moving up here towards Orient and Greenfield. This one's going to be coming up towards Prescott, Creston, and maybe Orient as well. So if you're out ahead of this line, Greenfield, Orient, Maxburg, you guys all need to get to your safe space. Don't worry about which individual tornado is the closest to you guys. Just if you're there, if you're out ahead of this line, just get to your safe space here. This is all in kind of west central Iowa right now, away from the Des Moines area. I want to check this storm here. This was also observed. This was the one near Exira. looks quite a bit weaker. If it is still in here, it's up here, west and north of Guthrie Center, and not seeing it there. So let's see. Okay, we're gonna get Alright, they're still saying it's on the ground here near Larland. So whether we're seeing the CC drops or not, just consider these on the ground. It's up in here along N46, headed up towards Bayard and Bagley. There is still rotation. I'm not seeing it, with the CC drop like we are in those southern storms. But either way, just consider this to be a tornado on the ground. Bayard up to Bagley here in Iowa. That's going to be north sides of Wichita, Iowa. And then let's go back down here towards these areas around Greenfield and Prescott. This Prescott storm is definitely maturing. I can see a bit tighter of a CC drop there, or of a velocity scan. And this is likely it up in here now, as we're just getting a new scan in here. So yeah, there we're starting to see the CC drops. Those CC drops. Okay, yeah, we're starting to see CC drops in this Prescott storm, so that likely is showing where that is. Again, this is kind of wrapped in the rain too. So Cromwell, Creston, up to Maxburg. You guys all need to be in your safe space. Spalding, Zion, Nevinville, Williamson. And then our other storm here with the tornado is, that is a big CC drop. That's one of the bigger ones I think we've seen in a while here. This is moving up between Bridgewater and Orient right now, headed up towards Fontanelle and Greenfield. You guys all need to be in your safe space. Fontanelle, Bridgewater, Greenfield. This is a large, damaging tornado. And yeah, we're really seeing basically a debris ball here embedded in this line. It doesn't look like a textbook supercell, but these pinks in here, that is your debris ball right here. You can see there's these higher pink and red values, or the stuff around it is kind of yellow and orange. That is an embedded debris ball right here. So we see that on the reflectivity, and we really see it. We really see it here on the CC drop. This is headed up towards Greenfield. This is a dangerous situation here. Fontanelle, Greenfield. It's probably even raining debris up in here from the tornadoes that were just previous to this. So we're seeing lofted debris as well. Yeah, this is not a good situation here. Greenfield up to Fontanelle. If anyone's south of those towns, you guys definitely need to be in your safe space down towards Fisk and Orient. And really, if you're out ahead of this, Nonito, Stanzel, Arbor Hill, start getting ready to be in your safe space too. Because this thing has been moving. We're getting a bunch of new severe thunderstorm warnings here for considerable threat. So treat these like they're tornado warnings. If you're up here towards Clarion, Fort Dodge, Iowa, Webster City, Colville, Callender, and Guthrie, we can see a big push of surging winds. That's all headed up your way. Again, you don't need a tornado to have, damage to your house, damage to your windows. This is a destructive severe thunderstorm with 80-mile-an-hour winds. That's hurricane force winds. And that's going to be pushing up, again, towards Callender, Fort Dodge, Colville, Webster City, Eagle Grove. Further down, we have still an observed tornado coming up towards Bayard and Bagley. Still doesn't look the most impressive, but Not seeing a big CC drop, but take it seriously. Bayard up to Bagley. And then, yeah, I want to focus back down here. We have a massive tornado here between Fontanelle and Fisk coming up towards Greenfield. So Greenfield, this is like last call for you guys. If you're in Greenfield, Iowa, you need to be in your safe space. This is kind of basically center line for you guys. And it's a considerable observed tornado. 6 miles southwest of Greenfield, moving northeast at 60. So you literally have a couple minutes or less. I mean, it's less than that. It just moved a little bit. And just remember, this is moving also between radar scans. So it's not like it's just sitting here. Greenfield has less than 4 minutes. You guys need to be in your tornado safe space now. If you're not already, this is last call. This thing has so much CC drop that it's not even showing the values. And we likely have debris that's actually centrifuging out of this circulation here as it's headed up towards Greenfield. This is a very dangerous situation here. PDS tornado warning here for Greenfield. Confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado located over Nottoway Park or 5 miles southwest of Greenfield, moving northeast at 55. This is a PDS tornado. Take cover now. And weather spotters have confirmed this. We don't need weather spotters to confirm this because we see it clearly defined right here. This is coming up here. Fontanelle, Greenfield, Arbor Hill, mentioned you guys earlier. Arbor Hill, Roserdale, Howe, Prussia, Caldwell Springs, Stewart, Dexter, Redfield. This is all coming up your way here. This is all southwest of Des Moines. So Des Moines right now, you guys are not in an immediate situation, but still monitor this. Again, we have a really big debris ball that's actually showing up in this line / cluster of storms here. That's your debris ball in the pink, and that is your tornado there on the CC, and also we can see it in the velocity. So we see it on all the different radar products that we have. It's confirmed. It's basically layered. We take these different products and we can layer them on top of each other. When I'm switching back and forth like this, it's because I'm just kind of looking to see if they're all lining up, and also just showing you guys that they're all lining up. This is a big tornado on the ground headed towards Greenfield, Iowa. We have other tornadoes on the ground. The good news is the northern one looks like it has dissipated, the one that was up towards Bagley and Bayard. That's kind of what I thought. If that tightens up, though, we got to watch that one as it comes up north of Ripley, or Rippy, towards Grand Junction. Just watch that. It may spin back up. This is our big boy right here towards Fontanelle and approaching Greenfield right now. We also have another tornado here near Cromwell. Likely still on the ground. There's CC drop in here. That's headed up towards areas north of Creston and eventually towards Maxburg. The radar indicated tornado over Blockton and Reading. Here in southern Iowa, this is lifting up towards Benton, Mount Ayr, Beloit, Diagonal, Shannon City, Elston. You guys need to be in your tornado safe space. A bunch of new severe thunderstorms. These are all new severe thunderstorms. Just since we started this stream, these storms have really upscaled. They're over the Kansas City area. Basically, it's an ugly drive along 35 from the Iowa border all the way down into Kansas City. An issue here is these all have rotation on them, so just be ready to get to your safe space. They all have little hooks on them. or most of them. So we have to watch these the next few minutes. At the very least, they're large hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. We have storms that are back building down into Kansas right now, near Mound City and Blue Mound. And we also have severe storms now into northern Arkansas. These are around the I-49 corridor from West Fork, and then along I-40, Mulberry and Ozark, Arkansas. So the Arkansas River Valley even getting into severe storms, and you can see just, let's see, 3:37 was our last radar scan here, Central Time, and just at 3 o'clock, these were just a couple showers. So within about 37 to 40 minutes, we now have, large upscaling severe thunderstorms, half-dollar size hail, and 60-mile-an-hour winds. Also have large hail here near Albion, Oklahoma. Not seeing a rotation in that storm right now. And then even starting to get some storms back building here into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So nothing severe in Texas yet, but we'll see. Those are going to continue to upscale. All right, let's continue in here. We have the large damaging tornado on the ground still here, approaching Greenfield. So this is not looking good. This is just on the west side of Greenfield right now, along 240th Street, coming into Southwest Kent Street. This is coming into the west side of Greenfield right now. And unfortunately, I think when we see this update here, the CC is going to extend into the Greenfield area. And there it is right now. We have damage going on in Greenfield, Iowa right now. This is right over the west side of Greenfield. And basically moving north and east, coming up. So if you're north and east of Greenfield, you guys need to be in your safe space. Prussia, Rosserdale, Howe, Arbor Hill, Caldwell Siding, up towards Stewart, Dexter, Redfield, Glendon, and Dale. We have an extension of the observed tornado to the south. Let's see, this is also ping pong ball size hail, but this is a weather spotter confirmed tornado located over Kent and moving northeast at 65. Okay, so it's down in here. Or it was down in there. Either way, just take it seriously. There's still a couple of rotations. There's the previous rotation here that was up near Prescott. And then it looks like there's another area rotation down here by Kent. So either way, Maxburg, you need to be in your safe space. May have a couple tornadoes on the ground there. This is not good though for Greenfield. Our rotation right here is over Greenfield, and there's our CC drop. That is not good. These are low values, and it's right over the town. Let's see while we're watching the radar scan here. Wow. Okay, this is a big tornado on the ground. Where is... Okay, when this was over near Williamson and Carl, it snapped the wind turbines in half. Those giant wind turbines you might see from, you know, especially if you're in the Midwest, you see those giant white wind turbines. It snapped one of those, in at least one of them, if not more. Actually, it looks like more. It snapped multiple of those wind turbines in half. And I don't mean just take the blades off. It took the whole tower down. Retweeting this. Can't share it on the stream, but we can definitely retweet it on socials. But yeah, it is a massive tornado. It looks violent. That's not good. Not good. Yeah, a lot of debris showing up in this. So you can actually see the debris ball pretty clearly here on the reflectivity. And then the CC actually shows this is your tornado, but there's actually debris getting ejected out of this. Yeah, that shouldn't be there. So yeah, there's your debris ball. But yeah, there's debris getting ejected out of this. That is not a good situation here for Greenfield. That debris ball is so big here. You can see it zoomed out. This purple reflectivity here shows up almost like the hail cores in some of these storms. There's a hail cores here. This is hail. This is hail. There's actually a little bit of hail right in here. This is a tornado. So, wow. That is a deep debris ball showing up right here. And yep, it's still confirmed with the CC. Alright, next up, Greenfield up towards Stewart, Dexter, Menlo, Redfield. You guys all need to be taking your tornado safety precautions if you're not already. I'm going to see if we have a camera up that way. Okay, this shows you what the situation is north of this storm. This is why we've been saying it's so dangerous. This is a camera here, a live camera out of Stewart, Iowa, along I-80 here. So we have I-80 moving east and west. You're already seeing here, this is in the storm. So there's heavy rain, lightning, maybe some small hail. And down back in that rain, south of this location right now, is a massive tornado. This is moving up towards the Stewart area, Dexter. You guys are the next towns in line for this. Howe, Roserdale, Arbor Hill, Caldwell Siding, Dexter, and Stewart. This thing has been on the ground for actually for quite a while. Still has a massive debris ball and still has a strong radar signature here. good news is the next scan here did not look as impressive. We'll see what the velocity looks like. It's ahead of the reflectivity and the CC. Either way, this is quickly moving up towards I-80 here. So if you're along I-80, Earlham, Dexter, Stewart, and Menlo, you guys need to be in your tornado safe space. Don't rely on this thing weakening, because it can easily cycle and produce another tornado. Still have ongoing tornado warnings here, just a massive amount of them. There is your tornado up in here coming towards Maxburg. Not showing as large of a CC drop, but there are still some CC values that are lower in here, so this still may be on the ground. It still has an observed tag on the warning, so let's just treat it like it's on the ground. But right in here, you can see that one a little clearer on the velocity. That's headed up towards Maxburg, Iowa. And then after that, Winterset, Earlham, they are actually in that warning as well. But here is our ongoing damaging tornado. May have just lost that camera. Sometimes these traffic cameras do not do well in the storms. They lose their connection like it's a 1990s satellite TV. I guess they probably are relying on satellite if they're remote cameras. Yeah, that Stewart area. Stewart, you're not in the tornado yet, but your cameras are down. So, alright. Well, we will try and find a new camera that gives us at least a... You can see it anyway with the... What we saw there in the Stewart area. You can see that kind of situation that that if you're out ahead of this tornado you're dealing with already, the heavy rain, wind, hail. You may even, if you're far enough out ahead of this, may even have debris falling out. There may be debris actually falling out of this ahead of the tornadic circulation. There's likely debris lofted in this storm here because the CC is so giant here. You can see it's centrifuged the debris out, and there's actually debris up in the cloud. But still showing the CC drop and the debris ball on radar. And still a pretty tight couplet. This is south of Stewart, Iowa. This is approaching I-80 here towards Dexter, Stewart, Earlham, and up towards Redfield. You guys need to be in your tornado safe space here. This is still ongoing. Yep, it's still in here. Massive tornado, if you're just joining us, came across Greenfield, Iowa right now. We're still tracking a long track tornado. This started way down near Carbon and Corning. And near Carl and Williamson, it snapped, not high tension, but it snapped the windmills, like the power windmills, the giant white ones you might see along the highway. And then it's come across Greenfield, Iowa. Looks to unfortunately have taken a direct hit by this. And now we're tracking at north and east, coming up towards Caldwell Siding, Dexter, Earlham, Quarry, Garrettville, Redfield, Wascata, and Kennedy. You guys are all next in line here for this. Still seeing a pretty deep CC drop here. It may have cycled on us. It weakened briefly, and it looks like it's now stronger again. And if you're just joining us, that is not the only tornado on the ground. At least it wasn't a few minutes ago. There's still a likely ongoing tornado near Maxburg. Yes, still observed in this warning. So there's likely an ongoing tornado here near Maxburg. Still seeing some CC drops, so let's just consider that to be on the ground too. That's coming up towards the Maxburg, Iowa area. We can check, there's tornado warnings down further. That one is just radar indicated between Mount Airy and Arisp. And then let's check this line here, just briefly check this line. Out of the Kansas City Metro. Looks like right now most of this is just damaging winds and some small hail. We do have to watch, there's a couple areas of rotation in those storms, but none of them have gone tornado warned. And then also watching storms here north and west of Fort Scott. That looks to be mostly a damaging wind threat right now, at least at the moment. We do have new storms that are back building further down here towards Independence, Kansas, into Bartlesville, Oklahoma, Hominy, Oklahoma, and now west of Tulsa. So those will have to be watched here as we continue into the afternoon and evening. Have some severe storms moving along the I-40 corridor, Ozark, Clarksville, Arkansas, up into the Boston Mountains. That is primarily damaging wind and some small hail. Also watching all the way back into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we have a isolated amount of storms here back into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. None of them are severe right now, but watching for large hail in those areas. And then jumping around a little bit, I do want to touch on our friends here in the Northeast. We do have some severe storms now in the Northeast with some quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds here around Wyden, Massachusetts, and Bellows Falls on the Vermont and New Hampshire border, moving into New Hampshire, Unity, Washington, Windsor, Stoddard in New Hampshire. So yeah, there is a chance of an isolated strong storm today in the Northeast. Even it looks like strong storms moving into the Ottawa metro area here in Canada as well. So busy day, busy afternoon of severe weather. Watching this area here in southern Minnesota, nothing has come out in this area yet. It's a bit messy at the moment. It's a little bit of conditional threat up this far north. It's kind of along the warm front, so it depends if we can get instability up this far. But if we can, the warm front can cause a little bit more vorticity, some convergence of different wind directions. Right now it's just creating a big mess of lightning and thunder if you're up along the I-90 corridor towards Minneapolis. But we'll continue to watch this. This is part of that PDS tornado watch. So, and then also watching southwest Wisconsin, a little bit of rotation in that storm near Jamestown. But right now it's a considerable threat for golf ball sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. You can definitely see the hail core in here, these pinks and purples coming up towards Dickeyville, Belmont, Cuba City, Jamestown. It's going to kind of follow 151. So if you're up there towards Mineral Point that is going to follow you guys. That's north of downtown Dubuque. So downtown Dubuque on the Iowa-Wisconsin border here. Actually, I guess kind of the tri-state. Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois come together right here. This is north of Dubuque for that storm. Okay. Let's continue back here. We have a radar indicated tornado located over the Mount Ayr Municipal Airport, 5 miles southeast of Mount Ayr, moving northeast at 50. So this is a new storm. Let's see. Okay, you can see it a little bit better maybe on this radar. This is a bit of a radar hole here along the Iowa and Missouri border. But that's coming up towards Grand River, Kellerton, Beaconsfield, Elston, Van Wert, Weldon, Osceola, and Woodburn. Further north, we have a radar indicated tornado. This is between Afton and Thayer, Iowa. And coming up towards Lorimer, East Peru, Toro, St. Charles, New Virginia, Martinsdale. Okay, we still have our observed tornado near Macksburg, McPherson. Kind of messy, but it's probably still in there. That's going to be up towards Winterset, Iowa, so you guys need to be taking your tornado safety precautions. And then I want to check on our damaging tornado. Where I have to kind of back it up and see if it's still in here. This would be in the Dexter area. So here is your this is all debris right in here. But the tornado circulation is actually out ahead of that. Let's see. Here's your circulation. And it looks like that original circulation that had the damaging tornado has weakened. But a new area of circulation is over the Dexter area right now and actually increasing in intensity. So we may have a new tornado developing if it hasn't already. Let's see, this is observed 5 miles southeast of Stewart. That is observed for the other storm. Yeah, we may have a new tornado developing here towards Wascota, Quarry, Garrettville, between Garrettville and Dexter. We'll have to watch that very closely here. Once again, you can see our original cell kind of dissipated right in here south of Stewart. But then if you look here towards the Dexter area, we can see that part of the rotation increase here. So if there is going to be a new tornado, it's going to be in this area here. Right along I-80 and Dexter. See if we can get a camera working. Ooh. So this is Dexter and I-80 right now. Luckily, not seeing much cars right now. There still are some. Looks like we can see a little bit of a lowering or darker area off to the right. And it looks like it might be blue sky out ahead of this camera. So I think we're... Let me see on the radar what we're looking at. Okay, yeah, so our camera is likely looking to the west-southwest. So that darker area off to the right may be the rotation. It's hard to really say what's going on, though, over there. You really can't tell what's going on. But either way, it's going to be out of the rain here in a few minutes. So we're on the back edge of that rain. Unfortunately, from what the radar was saying, and with the really deep, large CC drop, as well as the velocity scans, as well as other mobile velocity scans, it looks like they were in that area, and then also multiple wind turbines being destroyed, as well as starting to get some damage reports out of Greenfield. It was likely a significant tornado, so don't like to estimate things ahead of the National Weather Service, but significant tornado kind of means, you know, EF3 plus. We should get even better data on it because the Doppler on wheels was following and tracking the Greenfield tornado, so we should get some really good data on it afterwards. But it does not look good. Multiple wind turbines are completely destroyed and on fire. Essentially, the only thing left of some of the wind turbines are just the very base of the stem. Almost like if you can think of tornadoes with snapping trees, it basically did that to the giant wind turbines. We lost that camera again. Let me try and bring that back up. These traffic cameras are definitely picky with the weather. All right, let's see. All right, where are these all going? Let's jump ahead of this line to one of my other favorite cameras. Let's see. Okay, so this is looking into the storms. This is at I-35, looking south-southwest at Maffett Lake Road here, just in the south side of Des Moines. So we're looking southwest back towards this, well, all of these tornado-warned storms. Not seeing a lot here defined at the moment. It's very hot, humid, and sticky out ahead of this, so it's kind of, you can kind of see the humidity, that we're not seeing a lot of really defined cloud structure right now. But that line of tornado-warned storms is back there. And now without a with just regular tornado warnings, I think we're down to, we've lost the PDS warning, so that's a good sign. But let's take these top to bottom. We have a new tornado warning now here in Minnesota. This is around Fairmont up towards Garden City. And kind of broad rotation right now, looks like between Winnebago and Truman. It's just radar indicated. Yeah, 7 miles southeast of Truman, 8 miles northeast of Fairmont, moving northeast at 45. So it's this area right in here near Winnebago, kind of moving like this. Still be in your tornado safe space, you know, Winnebago, Amboy, Mapleton, Good Thunder, Buford, and Garden City in Minnesota. This is south of Mankato. And then The severe storms do take a bit of a jump. They're not really along the northern Iowa-Minnesota border. But we have tornado warning here near Jewel Junction, Stratford, Stanhope, Kamar for that area rotation. That looks to be kind of lining out. So some good news there. Could spin back up, so just watch it. Still have some rotation here. It's actually running out ahead of the tornado warning here near Kennedy. If this gets extended to be towards Adel, Ortonville, we'll see if that gets extended or not. The tornado that was down by Maxburg looks like that rotation has broadened as it's coming out towards Winterset, so not seeing anything that's imminently tornadic right in that part of the storm. And then same for this area here to the south. Let's see. Yeah, we had that better defined circulation here near Afton. And that has broadened out as well, so that's good to see. Alright, so right now, let's see. I think most of our tornado warnings are going to be radar indicated. That's a good thing. We're starting to see a little bit of what the models were kind of suggesting here. We're getting into the I-35 corridor, and we're starting to get kind of a line of storms. This may form into a pretty significant wind threat as it continues to march east across the I-80 corridor. But we've had some really damaging tornadoes already. Wow. Yeah, the tornadoes today are going to be fast moving, so if you're out ahead of these, please take them seriously and please take them ahead of time. So we do have a new tornado watch for southern Wisconsin. Basically, the areas here in southern Wisconsin that weren't in a tornado watch already. This is for a couple of strong tornadoes are possible. Scattered hail up to apple size, and scattered wind gusts up to 75 are likely. That is also going to go out until midnight. So midnight Wednesday morning here. That's for Richland Center, Reedsburg, Beaver Dam, Madison, Wisconsin, Janesville, Beloit, and areas just west of Milwaukee. This does not include the lakeshore. So if you're in just the counties here in southern Wisconsin along the lakeshore, this does not include Milwaukee downtown, Port Washington, Belgium, Shorewood, or Kenosha, but it does include areas here, the rest of southern Wisconsin, including Waukesha, Menominee Falls, West Bend, Beaver Dam, Columbus, Watertown, Whitewater, Janesville, Monroe, Mineral Point, Dodgeville, Spring Green, Richland Center, Madison, Sun Prairie, Reedsburg, Wisconsin Dells, Baraboo. So pretty popular. Starting to get into vacation season here. Memorial Day weekend coming up, so if anyone's taking a long vacation, if you know anyone that's up here in the Wisconsin Dells, you know, they may kind of have tuned out of the news for the week. Give them a call, let them know they're in a tornado watch tonight, and let them know that pretty much there's going to be severe storms in some type of form later today in this part of Wisconsin. Still watching our traffic cam. Traffic is moving pretty clearly so far. We're out ahead of those storms. I have a new tornado warning here in Kansas. This is for Garden City. Sorry, this is in Missouri. It's along the Kansas border. Archie, Adrian, and Garden City in Missouri. Yep, there is your rotation right in here. Another one that's going to be tucked back into the rain. You can see just a couple scans ago this was broader rotation. It's tightened up here in the last couple scans. This is going to be approaching I-49, Crescent Hill, Adrian, Archie, Main City, Everett, Lone Tree, Garden City, Dougherty, Creighton, Gun City, and East Lynn. So this is a developing circulation here in the storm on the south side of Kansas City. This is going to go south of Kansas City Metro. It's going to stay south of Harrisonville along I-49. If it does continue to develop, could go towards Warrensburg, Holden, Kingsville, Blairstown. So keep an eye on this storm if you're out ahead of it, especially east of the current warning. And if you're in the current warning, we've seen damaging tornadoes quickly form today in Iowa, so you guys need to take these kind of situations seriously. If you're up from Archie and Garden City, time to get into your safe space. Lowest level into your room, away from doors and windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you have a basement or storm shelter, that is even better. And certainly if you're out ahead of this, no mobile homes, trailers, camping tents, things like that. You guys got to get into a stable, well-built structure. We've had new storms that have been forming in the Tulsa area. Checking on rotation there, not seeing a lot at the moment, but some hailstorms likely here. 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail for those storms. Also, we've had storms in far southwest Missouri and then northwest Arkansas today, with still some ongoing storms here in the Arkansas River Valley and the Boston Mountains. These are now north of Clarksville, actually kind of leaving the river valley. These are going up into the Boston Mountains, north of Clarksville, and they're going to go into the North Arkansas radar hole. So that's always fun. So watch out as those continue to go east. They're actually moving more towards the east. So Batesville eventually. And then checking further down, still no severe storms here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Do have a couple stronger storms south of Dallas-Fort Worth. That is a bit of a hailstorm here developing near Hillsboro, Texas, right where I-35 splits south of Dallas. And then another one on 281 here south of Hico. That is another one that's worth watching. But yeah, we may get some isolated strong storms all the way down to the Texas Hill Country, west of Austin and Killeen. And then very quickly, we actually do have more severe storms now in the Northeast. Primarily wind and hail here in upstate Vermont and New York. and then also a little bit closer to some populations. We have some pretty good hailstorms showing up here. 60-mile-an-hour winds, 1-inch hail near Bellows Falls, and also Greenfield, Massachusetts. Primarily just hail and wind are the main threats there. Alright, let's take this top to bottom again, at least the severe parts of these storms. Still have that ongoing tornado warning south of Mankato for the areas around Amboy, Mapleton, Buford, and Good Thunder. Looks like really broad rotation right there, so not concerned at the moment. We do have new severe thunderstorm warnings for 60-mile-an-hour winds and some small hail. That's around the I-35 and 90 interchange around Albert Lee. That extends all the way down towards Mason City, Gardner, Clarion, Hampton. Still have an ongoing tornado warning here around Jewel Junction. There's some broad rotation in here, but it hasn't really picked up in the last few scans, so that's good to see. We do have a new tornado warning for radar indicated tornado here coming into the radar site. So this is for the Des Moines Metro. It's for that area rotation that was around the Dexter area. This is the storm that produced the damaging tornado over Greenfield earlier. It's a different rotation, but that's coming up here around Waukee and Dallas Center right now. This is approaching our radar site. Towards Polk City, Andrews, Grimes, and then up towards Slater, Huxley, and Ankeny, Iowa. Still some ongoing radar indicated tornado warnings down south. Both of those are radar indicated. I think right now all of our tornado warnings are radar indicated. We have 7 of them. This one was observed, but I think they're just going to let that expire because there's really not rotation in there anymore. So yeah, I think right now all of our tornado warnings are radar indicated. And we have a couple still ongoing severe thunderstorms in northern Missouri right now, Bethany, and the areas here around Chillicothe. And then I do want to check our storm south of Harrisonville near the Archie area. It was looking pretty impressive a couple scans ago. Still not seeing a CC drop. Unless that's the first. There is something a little bit suspicious right here, and that is in our circulation. So let's give this another scan here near Archie. The overall circulation doesn't look as impressive on the radar, but yeah, let's just watch this here, another scan. Some new severe thunderstorm warnings around the Fort Scott area over to Walker, areas north of Nevada, Missouri. Primarily a wind threat right now, looks like in these storms here near Mound City. You can see those gusty winds showing up. 60-mile-an-hour winds, 1-inch hail. Then also some new warnings here for the same thing, 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds north of Tulsa right now. The storms in northwest Arkansas have gone below severe limits. That's good to see for the moment. Not seeing rotation in those right now, so those are looking like they're coming down a little bit. So regardless of a tornado, we have pretty dangerous storms coming into the Des Moines Metro here. And we can see that on our camera, our traffic camera is right here where I-35 and Route 5 come together. And yeah, we're starting to see that heavy rain pick up into the Des Moines metro. This whole area outside of the tornado warnings is going to get a tornado possible and 60-mile-an-hour wind, quarter-size hail, severe thunderstorm warning. Let me see if I can get, well, we're kind of in a bit of a lull for the tornadoes. Let me just see if we can get any reports of damage out of Greenfield. Oh boy, Greenfield does not look good. Unfortunately, it does look like Greenfield took a pretty direct hit from the strong tornado earlier that we were tracking on the radar, and yeah, there's like fully debarked trees, fully de-leaved trees, piles of debris in the road with, at least in some of the social media pictures, no discernible structure. Again, you can't really rate a tornado like that just by looking at it, but it does look like it was at least a significant tornado. It depends what kind of structures were there. You know, were they sheds or barns that could easily be blown away, or were they like, you know, well-built homes and well-built structures? So that's why we have to kind of wait for the National Weather Service to do their rating, but just based on the photos, it does not look, a weak tornado did not go through Greenfield. It looks like it was a significant tornado. So that's not great. Alright, continuing on here, we do have the Des Moines metro area here under the gun with some tornado warnings right now. Still just radar indicated these are coming into the radar site, so we may not see these as good over the radar site for a couple minutes, but the rotation will be over the Grimes area coming up towards Polk City, Ankeny, Slater, Huxley, Kelly on the north side of Des Moines. We also are seeing some pretty significant winds pushing through the metro area right now, and we can take a look at those. Not all of this is going to reach the ground, but we're seeing at least, you know, 60, 75 mile an hour, even 80, 80.2. So at least some of that is going to make it to the ground, so that's why we have the warning for 60 mile an hour winds. Still have rotation here near Martinsdale. This is starting to outrun the warning here. If that gets continued, it'd probably be a new tornado warning for Indianola, Spring Hill, Norwalk, Carlisle, Hartford, Runnels. Even if it's not a tornado warning, if you're out ahead of this in this area here that I just mentioned, Runnels, Hartford, Carlisle, Spring Hill, Norwalk, it's good to take this like it's a tornado because you are under the warning here for a tornado possible and at least 60 mile an hour winds and 1-inch hail. Wouldn't be surprised if that gets extended though. Let's see the trend on this one here near Martinsdale. Yeah, that actually seems to be wrapping up a little tighter in the last couple scans, so wouldn't be surprised if that gets extended out. Our camera looks like it froze up a little bit. It's kind of in that area. I can try and get a new camera. Alright, this is on I-80 near the Altoona, Iowa area here. And we are going to get an extension of that tornado warning that I just mentioned. So this is for that circulation that we saw picking up here near Martinsdale. Yeah, this is picked up again. Martinsdale, Spring Hill, you guys need to be in your tornado safe space. Up across the Des Moines metro area, Norwalk, Carlisle, Avon, Pleasant Hill, downtown Des Moines. It's good to be in your safe space anyway because you have some pretty strong winds coming from the west. And then also the circulation to your southwest. Altoona, Bondurant, up towards Colfax. Areas near Mingo and Elkhart. You guys all need to be in your tornado safe. Basically, if you're in the Des Moines metro area, just be in your tornado safe space. Again, it's one of those days where don't worry about the specific circulation. There's actually two circulations here. One right kind of near the radar site, and then the one that's picking up here south of Norwalk. And that would come up towards Altoona. But even if you're in between those two circulations, just treat this like it's one big tornado warning with the gusty winds. But let's take a look at this here because this is starting to wrap up pretty tight here. Right along I-35 and Iowa 92. And that may be on the ground. Let's see. That looks pretty suspicious there. Alright, we'll wait and check that in just a minute. Yeah, this is pretty tight right in here near Martinsdale. I think it's on the ground, but we'll just wait another scan. Just to confirm that. And if that is a tornado here, whether it is on the ground or not, be in your safe space. Greenbush, Spring Hill, Somerset, Scott Ridge, Norwalk, Lakewood, Carlisle, Avon Lake, Adelphi, Woodland Hills, Pleasant Hill, Altoona, Prairie Belle, Mitchellville, Colfax. Also kind of concerning, I'm seeing a lot of traffic actually running towards this. This is looking towards those storms. We can see the storms off to along the tree line there, the darker side of those storms. Yeah, so there's a lot of people actually headed towards that. Let me see if I can get even a better camera view. Let's see. We can try and get a little closer to that tornado warned storm. Okay, this is actually pretty good. It's a 4-camera shot out of Scott Ridge, which is right here along US 65. So our tornadic circulation here is in the Greenbrush area, and that is a tornado on the ground. Pretty much going to confirm that one. Yeah, it's observed. So we saw it just a scan or two ago when it was just starting out, but this is right in the Spring Hill Greenbrush area, coming up towards this camera. Please stay on the... Please don't drop this camera. We can see if we can see it if the camera keeps its connectivity. But this is a damaging tornado here in the Des Moines Metro. So everybody in the Des Moines Metro needs to be in their tornado safe space here. Des Moines, downtown, Avon Lake, Carlisle, Woodland Hills, Adelphi, Pleasant Hill, Carbondale, Lakewood, Norwalk, Scott Ridge, Altoona, up to Mitchellville. This is a dangerous situation here as we're going along here. So yeah, this is a damaging tornado here in the Greenbrush area. It just updated. Shows you how fast this is moving. That was... Okay, we saw it here. Actually, it may have started just back a little further in that Martindale area. We saw it here near Martindale. We saw it upscale. Now we see it here in Greenbrush as a really defined CC. Now it's a bit messier of a CC, so maybe some good news that this has come back down. And yeah, it doesn't look as tight as it did just a scan ago. That's a good sign here, as it's actually coming across our camera right now. Let's see if our camera can log in. Yeah, these cameras are not great in the severe weather. But this is approaching Scott Ridge if it's still on the ground. Scott Ridge up to Carlisle, Avon Lake, Woodland Hills, Adelphi, Carbondale, Pleasant Hill, Altoona. Still be in your safe space if you're in the Des Moines immediate metro, but at least this particular circulation looks like it's going to be a southeast Des Moines issue here along US 65. We have ongoing tornado warnings also up in Minnesota, and I put the radar into motion. You can kind of see it's a bit of a big messy cluster of embedded circulations here, kind of east and south of Mankato, all the way up towards Montgomery and south of New Prague, Minnesota. Yeah, there's kind of a few of them, and they're kind of rotating to the north pretty much. There's a few areas of circulation in here. So this whole area has been kind of warned for tornado warning. But yeah, if you're in this Mankato over to Janesville, Waterville, and Montgomery in Minnesota, you need to take your tornado safety precautions. This is closer to the low pressure system, so there's a lot of spin up in there. And you can kind of see it even on the reflectivity. We have kind of 3 different cells, and they're all rotating. So we need to treat these all pretty seriously. A bit of wind likely gusting out towards Faribault and the I-35 corridor, but back here around the Mankato area, that's where those tornado warnings are. Checking in on our storm here. It's still kind of over the radar sight, so I think we're just starting to see whatever rotation is right there. But that's coming up towards Crocker, Alaman, Ankeny, Elkhart, White Oak, Huxley, Cambridge. You guys still need to be in your tornado safety space. It's right over the Polk City area. Again, we'll get a better look at that when it comes out of the radar hole. And then still have the ongoing rotation here near the Scott Ridge area. We'll see if our camera can load again. It may be down for the minute. Let's try and get another camera that's out ahead of this line here. Okay, this is at Route 65 at Army Post Road. I think we've been to this camera before when there was a tornado. So forget exactly, but somewhere in this area here. I think it's south of Carbondale, Pleasant Hill. Somewhere in this area, I think it is. But we can at least see the rain is starting to affect this area here along US 65, east side of Des Moines. The rotation seems to have broadened. It's over the Scott Ridge and approaching Carlisle, approaching the I-65 and Iowa 5 interchange. But good news is I don't think it's on the ground at the moment. There is some CC still in there, but I think that's lofted debris from earlier. Still treat this like it's a tornado on the ground. Alright, I'm going to be right back. Just let the dogs out for a second, and we'll continue the live severe weather coverage. For the meantime, let me just put the radar into the full mode so you can see we actually have severe thunderstorms right now from Mankato, Minnesota. Severe and tornado warning storms from Mankato, Minnesota all the way down to the Tulsa area. And actually all the way east to Vermont. So let me just put the radar into motion for a minute and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Dogs are good. More tornado warnings are going on. Let's get right into it. So, if you're just joining us, we have ongoing multiple tornado warnings. Okay, I just sneezed again. Those allergies, man. Those allergies are horrible today. Alright, so if you're just joining us, we have multiple ongoing severe weather. We have some isolated severe weather in the Northeast, particularly upstate New York, Vermont, and New Hampshire, a little bit into western Massachusetts. That should die off as the evening continues in the Northeast. Primarily just some damaging winds and some quarter-size hail are the primary threats here in the Northeast. Then we have a whole line of severe thunderstorms from the area south of Minneapolis with some severe and tornado warning storms, and then a more defined line of storms through central Iowa, down into northwestern Missouri, western Missouri, and then down into northeast Oklahoma. We also have some isolated storms even further south in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and points south. So we're going to take this top to bottom, particularly focused on this area here with the tornado warnings. We also have right now 3 tornado watches. We have the tornado watch here for parts of Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. This is a PDS tornado watch for a particularly dangerous situation. We have a second watch that covers western Missouri, southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, and northwest Arkansas. And then we have our third tornado watch includes much of southern Wisconsin, the Madison area, and points west of Milwaukee. So, pretty busy day so far. We've had ongoing damaging tornadoes, including one that unfortunately hit a pretty populated city or town of Greenfield in Iowa. So let's get into these top to bottom here. Severe thunderstorm here in Wisconsin for 60-mile-an-hour winds is the primary threat here. And then we have ongoing radar indicated tornadoes. I had kind of a shear line that had a bunch of rotation points in it. That seems to have weakened a lot, so not super worried about that area, Montgomery over to Waterville. But this area has intensified a little bit. We can see a little tighter area rotation here near the Faribault area. That's moving up. There's actually a few points, but this particular one here near Ruskin seems to be the most intense area. Not seeing anything on the radar for that. So that's up in Minnesota. Then we have a long line of severe thunderstorms along the I-35 corridor, jumping down to the Iowa Falls area. This is north side of Ames and pushing now up towards Iowa Falls. Still have a area rotation in here. Let's see, just radar indicated at the moment. But now we do have observed tornadoes here. We have an observed tornado. This was that rotation that went actually through the radar site on the north side of Des Moines. It's now up here towards Colo. And we can check on... Yeah, we do. That is a damaging tornado here. We can see right here is our debris ball. There is our velocity, and here is our CC drop. So that is another big tornado on the ground with a pretty deep and well-defined CC. This is now a PDS warning. Oh, this has definitely intensified since it left the radar site. I remember we were kind of seeing what would happen here. We could see something was under the radar site, but we couldn't tell what. It has definitely intensified as it came north of the Des Moines area here, and that's about the time when I think we saw the CC ball. So that's now moved up this way. It's headed towards St. Anthony, Zeering, Lipscomb, Albion, New Providence. You guys all need to be taking your tornado safety precautions. Again, that's a damaging tornado with a debris ball on the ground. New Providence, Union, Lipscomb, St. Anthony, Zeering, McCallsburg. And then we still have an ongoing tornado warning here. This was a tornado warned storm that we saw earlier that had a tornado on it. Looks like it produced another tornado near Pleasant Hill. And that looks like surged out. That's a good news. The good news is it's now a damaging wind threat. We can see kind of an embedded supercell in here. That has become outflow dominant though, and what's left of that circulation is up in here between Baxter and Newton. So there's still little area circulation in there, still worth watching. They're going to continue to warn it. It's now more like a QLCS kind of notch situation. But they're going to warn it, especially because it was radar indicated, or it was radar confirmed. Okay. Yeah, so that is going to be coming up towards Newton, Baxter, Laurel, Haverhill, Ferguson, and Gilman in Iowa here. Quickly, the threat is diminishing in the Des Moines area. If you're in the Des Moines area and you're west of, downtown pretty much, then you're in the clear. I mentioned Omaha earlier, but now areas like Red Oak that had a tornado earlier, you guys are all clear. Greenfield that had the damaging significant tornado, you guys are all clear. Good news for cleanup in those areas. And then we do have some other tornado warning storms here further south in Iowa near Corden. This is a little bit of a radar hole out here, but there is looks like some circulation coming up through the Corden area. And then storms have actually broken up a little bit in western Missouri here. So I-70 actually looks not bad right now between Columbia and Kansas City. South of there though, Warrensburg, Clinton, down towards Butler, Appleton City, and Nevada, Missouri. Mostly some small hail and damaging winds are the primary threat. There is a little bit of a circulation here near Clinton that we have to watch. Yeah, you can see its little notch in here. So we have to watch if it can Once again, I got the pups in the studio, so if you hear some crazy noises, it's not me. But yes, a little notch in here. If that can wrap itself up a little bit more, could have a tornado possible there. So we'll have to watch that area around Clinton. Otherwise, gusty winds and some small hail. All the way back into the Tulsa area, we have gusty winds and small hail. Yeah, you can see it's more of a wind threat down here. Pretty good line of winds through Sand Spring coming into Tulsa right now. Really well defined area of winds here. Not a great night. It's about 5:07 here at Central Time. So not a great night if you're leaving work here in the Tulsa area. New severe thunderstorms for Pittsburgh, Kansas. That one has a little bit of rotation on that. That is a bit of a concerning one. Has a little bit of that look to it. A little bit of a kidney bean. So we'll have to watch that storm. Also has a little bit of larger hail. $half size hail, 60-mile-an-hour wind. If the storms can stay isolated, that's their best chance of producing, you know, more significant tornadoes and also larger hail. So back up here, I think we have one ongoing observed tornado. Yeah, this is our observed tornado. It is a PDS tornado warning near the Zeering area. This is coming up. Yeah, it's hopefully going to split Zeering and St. Anthony, but you guys all need to be in your safe space. Good news is the velocity doesn't seem to be as tight as it was the last couple scans. You can see how tight it was just a little bit ago. Back towards the Nevada, Iowa area, Colo, along US 30. It's broadened quite a bit. But still seeing a CC drop in there, so it's still either on the ground or has debris circulating in the cloud. Either way, treat it like it's a tornado warning, or treat it like it's an ongoing damaging tornado until we really see that debris lift. That's headed up Zeering, St. Anthony, Liscum, Union, and New Providence. You guys all need to be in your tornado safety precautions. And then I want to check on this warning here to the south. It was an area that was starting to kind of spin up again near the Colfax and Prairie City. Yeah, it was that area that was warned earlier. Good news is it's kind of broadened. So still have the little notch in there, but it's not as pronounced as it was earlier. It's more of a wind threat here, surging out. Reesner, Monroe, Newton, you guys are all in a pretty good damaging wind threat. So yeah, it's kind of a classic situation here where the tornado would sit up on the north side of all this, and then here's your outflow surge coming across the areas around Newton. trying to see if there's any updates. Still an observed tornado on this storm here near Greenfield, or near Zeering. This was, I think, the storm that was in the Greenfield area earlier. The good news is it seems like that the rotation has broadened. Still seeing some CC drop in there, but it may just be elevated. Either way, let's treat it like it's a tornado still ongoing here. New Providence, Union, and Liscum. They're also going to extend out a severe thunderstorm warning tornado possible all around this for 60-mile-an-hour winds. Still watching this area here north of Newton, but also seeing a really defined area of strong winds surging out, and actually you can see that in the CC. The CC, this elongated area of CC drop just out ahead of the rain, is likely a mix of clear air that sometimes shows a CC drop, but also it's likely picking up some twigs and dust and stuff just out ahead of this line. That is some pretty strong winds then, surging Kellogg, Oakland Acres, up towards Grinnell, Iowa. And we can start to see this because we're still pretty close to the radar site. But yeah, that's 60-mile-an-hour winds, probably pretty easy. 50, 60. Even maybe a couple gusts that are higher than 60. And the other thing, this is coming right down I-80. So you're going to get slammed with these winds pretty strong. Let's see if we can actually jump out ahead of this line. Okay, so this is a camera just east of Newton. It's probably right in this area here near where we're getting the strong winds. So good news is I do see the traffic is slowing down as they're getting into this, and we're looking west towards this wall of wind. They're going to extend it out. A considerable threat, severe thunderstorm for 70-mile-an-hour winds. And then good news is they're going to drop the PDS tag for the tornado warning. Still though, an observed tornado here in the St. Anthony area. Yep, I think it's still in here. It doesn't look as defined as it did earlier though. That's a good thing. It's probably just going to be just east there. This is quickly headed towards New Providence and Union. So you guys up here, New Providence, Union, Liscum, need to be in your tornado safe space. for a damaging tornado. It looks like it has split Zeering and St. Anthony here in Iowa. So yeah, it's gone between those two towns. That's really good. We didn't have another. Yeah, that's good news that we didn't have another direct hit by a damaging tornado like we did earlier here in Iowa. So yeah, it's gone between these two towns. It's now up here. And they're gonna actually add a giant severe thunderstorm warning for the line that's now east of I-35, but this is going to include Waverly, Cedar Falls, Wellsburg, Grundy Center, Rhinebeck. We'll see if they continue out the tornado warning. It does appear like the tornado is still in here. It's south of New Providence right now. It may just be lifting though, and that could be lofted debris still stuck in the air, because it does look like the circulation is a little displaced from the CC now. The storm is surging kind of ahead and leaving the circulation behind, which sometimes we see in these types of QLCS situations. It's somewhat developing here. Same for this area north of Newton now. Still seeing some rotation in here. This is still a tornado warning for Laurel, Ferguson, Pickering, Haverhill, and Gilman. Still just a radar indicated circulation, but you can see it's kind of a little curly Q here, and then we have some really strong surging winds along I-80 from Newton over towards Oakland Acres. Okay, so we'll see about this camera for now. You can see some darker clouds off in the horizon here. This is actually out of the Cedar Falls metro here in Cedar Falls, Waterloo. It's on the west side, so it's over here, right on the edge of this severe thunderstorm warning. So we're looking back towards the areas that we're just warned for tornadoes here. It looks like they're dropping, from what I said earlier, it looks like they are dropping that that severe, or that tornado warning that was around New Providence and Union. Looks more like a damaging wind threat at the moment. And then certainly there is a circulation still in this storm approaching the Laurel, Iowa area, coming up towards Ferguson, Gilman, and Haverhill. I'm seeing the newest scan here, just north of Laurel. Not seeing a defined CC with this. Okay, not seeing a defined CC with this, so that's a good sign. These can quickly spin up pretty good, though. And then I want to check on our storm here to the south. This is out of the Corden area, over near Confidence and Promise City right now in Iowa. We're a little far from the radar, but that's a pretty good area of circulation. It's really hard to see what's going on in this storm. There's definitely some hail in here. Either way, if you're north and east of this storm, Melrose, Moravia, you guys need to be taking tornado safety precautions. Corden, you guys are all good as the storm has passed you guys. If there's a new tornado warning, I would expect it would be out for somewhere like this, Monrovia, maybe Eddyville, Bussy, La Villa, and Albia, something like this, if they extend this tornado warning eventually. But area of rotation is still in here between Corydon and Moravia. Also a little closer between Promise City and Confidence. The new severe thunderstorm warning for quarter-size hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds for Memphis, Missouri, and also areas here into into Iowa, and also the same for areas around Milan, Missouri. This one has a tornado possible tag. It's really hard to see what's going on in that one though. There's a bit of a radar hole here too in south central Iowa and northeast Missouri. And then back into western Missouri, still some damaging wind threats here. $half size hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds, Appleton City, Clinton, over towards Windsor. There was a little bit of a notch in here earlier. Yeah, there is a little rotation in there. You know, the Calhoun, Missouri area. I'll have to watch that as it heads over towards Cole Camp. Otherwise, this line wasn't showing a lot of rotation. There's a little bit here as well, south of Appleton City. So we'll have to watch that. And then this one was a little bit more concerning near the Pittsburgh area, but it's not rotating super tightly. There is a little broad rotation in there around Liberal. That storm definitely has a considerable threat. Lime-size hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. That's coming towards the I-49 corridor between Milo and Jasper, Missouri. So if you don't have to travel I-49 right now, I would not be doing that as that storm's approaching. We also have pretty strong storms in the Tulsa metro, and they're getting a little more concerning now that I'm seeing some of these. They are... We came through the Tulsa metro with gusty winds, but now seeing some areas of circulation in here, and you can see these inflow notches. There's one here near Sapulpa. There's one here now east of Tulsa along 412 by Fair Oaks and Verdigris. And there's also one up here near Chelsea. So we have to watch these areas. The Chelsea one is pretty broad. So at the moment, not super worried, but it could tighten back up. The one near Verdigris is a little stronger, but it's still kind of broad. But yeah, those are two storms in particular to watch there. I guess three storms. The one near Sapulpa is weaker than the other two. But yeah, watching this storm here and then this storm. Hold on, one pup is hogging all the toys from the other pup. Okay, we're back. Let's get the webcam going. There we go. All right. Let me just double check the audio because I think I bumped the mic. Okay. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, so watching these storms here in the Tulsa area and now pushing north and east of Tulsa. This one be coming over towards Pryor Creek, Oklahoma, and the other one near Veneta, Oklahoma. Those are two storms that we definitely have to watch. They're kind of individual on their own. They are showing some signs of rotation, but they're also showing some damaging winds. And some hail. What are these being warned at? $half size hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. And I would say a tornado. Especially this one near Verdigris seems to be tightening up a little bit. We do have a new tornado warning here for that storm that I mentioned earlier. This is near the Clinton area, Calhoun, up to Windsor and Cole Camp. We called you guys earlier. Now it's time to get into your tornado safe space. It is that little notch up in here. Near Windsor and Calhoun. That's going to come across here between Sedalia down to Cole Camp. Or I guess I got even a little tighter, Green Ridge to Lincoln. This is also along US 65 here. So a pretty well traveled part of the country. Yeah, it's right in this area here between Windsor and Calhoun. Gonna ride up along. There's two warnings here. I assume that's one for Kansas City and one for St. Louis. Or Springfield, probably. Let's see. Yeah, Springfield and Kansas City. Interesting note, they're both relatively the same. The Springfield radar or NWS office is warning it for ping pong ball sized hail. The Kansas City is warning for quarter size. But either way, there's a circulation with a tornado possible there developing between Calhoun and Windsor in Missouri, kind of west central Missouri. Checking on our areas here to the north, there's still an area of circulation in these storms south of the Twin Cities. This one is now approaching Welsh and Vasa, Minnesota. Kind of a broad area of circulation. Not seeing a CC drop with that. That is also going to affect Red Wing. And then this is the Minnesota and Wisconsin border. So Oak Grove, Wisconsin, Trenton, Wisconsin, Bay City, Snows Corner, up to about Ellsworth, Wisconsin. You guys are all in a tornado warning. So tornado safe space. This area doesn't get a ton of tornadoes, so just in case you need a reminder, that's lowest level interior room, away from doors and windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And if you have a basement, or storm shelter, that's even better. Yeah, so tornado safe space here for Red Wing up to Ellsworth. Here, northeast Minnesota and west central Wisconsin. Pretty much the Twin Cities, yeah, the tornado threat really decreases as you get up into the Twin Cities. I mean, it's a lower chance even in southern Minnesota, but we're not seeing like the tornadic circulations that we It's all further south in Iowa. There is, you can see it on a couple different radar sites, but there is a little bit of a tighter area coming up there between Welsh and Vasa, Minnesota. Also watching this line a little bit, there are some notches in this line we have to watch here in Iowa and southern Minnesota. There's also a pretty good amount of wind. This is being warned for tornado possible, 70-mile-an-hour wind, so it's a considerable threat, severe thunderstorm. And that whole line is approaching areas southwest sides of Rochester, Minnesota, Stewartville, Spring Valley, Elma, New Hampton, and then into Iowa here. This is like Waverly, eventually Waterloo, Cresco. All a pretty good amount of wind in here. Our camera right now is from the Cedar Falls area. We can see the clouds getting darker on the horizon. That area is under a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-an-hour winds. And then further down the line, we also have strong storms here with a considerable threat, 70-mile-an-hour winds, quarter-size hail. Starting to see what we talked about earlier when the stream was getting started. We're starting to see the hail decrease as these storms are starting to really cluster together and line up. Still a little bit of circulation in here. We got to watch that. Toledo, Iowa, up to Dysart. Just watch that. If that spins up, that could be a new tornado warning. And then along I-80 and points north, we have some really surging winds here coming towards that Toledo, Iowa area along US 30. That's going to head over towards Keystone, Iowa. So you guys almost treat this like a tornado if you're out ahead of this. 70-mile-an-hour wind, considerable threat, severe thunderstorm. Watching this area here near Pella, Iowa. There's a little bit of rotation in there between Knoxville and Pella. That storm has a little bit larger of a hail core. Yeah, half dollar size hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. We have to watch that. It's a little more individual, so if it can wrap itself up, you know, that's certainly going to have a potential there. And then still have a radar indicated tornado here. Yeah, we have the rotation still in this area here. This is coming up from Moravia, and it's going to be closing in on Eddyville, Iowa, as well as Oskaloosa, Iowa. And then we do have a tornado warning here for this area of Milan, Missouri. This is in that radar hole, Green City, Milan, up to Queen City, Missouri. You guys need to be in your tornado safe place. Radar indicated rotation there. Along Missouri 6, Green City, Greencastle, Worthington, Greentop, and Queen City, Missouri. That's going to go north of Kirksville. So if you got kids at Truman State there in Kirksville, that's going to go north of Kirksville. Storms have really fallen apart along the I-70 corridor, Chillicothe over to Moberly, Marshall, Columbia, Missouri. But then we pick up with severe storms south of Sedalia. We have that ongoing tornado warning storm. Not looking as impressive as it did earlier, but there's still some circulation in here south of Windsor, headed towards Coal Camp, Missouri. And then still watching this area here around Appleton, Lowry City. There's some strong winds in there, but there's also a bit of circulation. That's coming towards Osceola. And then same with this storm, has a little bit of circulation near Liberal, Missouri. And that's going to be approaching areas here along I-49, Lamar, Sheldon, and Milo, Missouri. New tornado warning for those storms that I mentioned earlier in the Tulsa area. And out of the 2 or 3 storms I think we were looking at in Tulsa, I mentioned it was the one near Verdigris that looked the most impressive tornadically, and that is the one that now has a tornado warning. So hopefully we provided, yeah, we saw it when it was starting to tighten up right in this area here. It's hasn't gotten much tighter, but it's still in here. This is going to come over towards Pryor Creek and south of Adair, Oklahoma, along US 69. Also watching this area here south of Jenks near Glenpool. That storm doesn't seem to have as much rotation as the other one. But also watching this storm here south of Bonita near Big Cabin. This was the other area to watch. It hasn't really changed much in the last couple scans. So that is one good sign there. Yeah, we have to watch those storms down by the Tulsa area. And then a new severe thunderstorm in western Arkansas. This is south of Fort Smith. 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds between Huntington and Waldron along US 71 in western Arkansas. It looks like, for the most part, the storms are simmering down near the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I can't recall. I don't think we've seen any severe thunderstorm warnings in Dallas-Fort Worth, so that's... The Metroplex has definitely been spared of any strong storms. Still have a few ongoing storms here in northern New York, as well as northern Vermont and New Hampshire. Those seem to be dying down. There's still a few near Watertown that have some stronger 60-mile-an-hour winds, small hail. Overall, the severe threat here for the Northeast should be dying down here as the evening pushes on in the Northeast. I want to go back here to Minnesota. We have another tornado warning here in Wisconsin. Seven miles south of Menominee, Wisconsin, moving northeast at 40. So it's this area rotation here, moving up towards Colfax and Red Cedar and Elk Mound. And then we still have that area rotation now approaching the Mississippi River here. It was back here, we saw it near Welsh and Vasa, Minnesota. It's now approaching the Mississippi River. That'll go into Wisconsin here, Trenton, Diamond Bluff, Red Wing. You guys all need to be in your tornado safe space. Both of these look kind of broad, so not seeing a ton there, but still take your tornado safety precautions if you're south of Minneapolis there and you're in one of those warnings. Let's see, new tornado warnings here coming out, actually two of them at once. So let's take the one that I just clicked on. This is that area rotation near Toledo, Iowa, that I mentioned earlier, coming up toward Dysart. So that area has kind of re-intensified as an area of interest and actually may have a tornado on the ground. Let's see. No, that may be clear air. Ooh. It's hard to tell. So reflectivity may be a step behind. You can see the notch in here in the velocity scan. If the reflectivity actually catches up, that might be on the ground. We'll check that in another scan. Either way, new tornado warning. Toledo up to Gladbrook, Iowa, Traer, Buckingham, Dysart, Eagle Center, and LaPorte City. You guys all need to be in your tornado safe space. And then the other new tornado warning was for this area here around Parkersburg, Iowa, coming up towards Clarksville, Shell Rock, Waverly, Plainfield, and Frederica. This area is really messy on the radar too. Yeah, northern Iowa. Let's see if I can get it from here. There's a bit of a radar hole right in that area of Iowa too. You can see actually this one a little bit more on the other radar site. Either way, these are all fast-moving storms, so treat them like they're a treat them like they are on the ground, even if we can't confirm them or not. So let's just take a stock here. Right now we have 9 tornado warnings. Oklahoma, Missouri, and Iowa, and Wisconsin and Minnesota. Actually, not Minnesota anymore, Wisconsin. Let's start from the south again. We'll take the storms down here by Tulsa first. Still some broad rotation in that storm near Jenks, but this storm here is actually right near the radar site. So we're seeing the rotation right in here, moving towards Pryor Creek. It seems to be a bit outflow dominant. We can see this larger area of outflow surge, but we do have our inflow notch here. And yeah, that is creating kind of a not super tight area rotation. There is, I guess, a bit tighter rotation right in here, but it needs to get its act together a little stronger to imminently produce a tornado. And still watching that area around Big Cabin. That storm actually doesn't look as impressive as it did a few minutes ago. So I think even the hail's coming down on that storm, which is good. The storm near Liberal, that warning has been dropped. That actually looks less impressive than it did earlier. So that's a good sign. Still watching the tornado warning storm here south of Sedalia near Coal Camp. Still some broad rotation in there, but that doesn't look as impressive either. Right now, Missouri is not performing great. These storms were in a pretty good line earlier as they came across Kansas City, and they've weakened, generally weakened. There's still a decent area in here that I'd even include that Pittsburgh storm. From Sedalia to Pittsburgh, that's still pretty punchy. But this part of Missouri actually looked pretty intriguing earlier today with some of the modeling around Joplin and along the Kansas and Missouri border. That area seems to be underperforming what some of the models were showing around Pittsburgh and Joplin. Watching this storm upscaling a little bit near Pritchard, Oklahoma. We could have some small hail in that. That just got flagged as well with a special weather statement. The storm near Bixby and Jenks is now getting warned for considerable threat. Lime-sized hail. We can see that right here, south and east of Jenks, that purple core. That's going to continue moving over towards Bixby, Broken Arrow, Coweta, Wagner. You guys all need to be away from windows, into your room, and in a sturdy structure. And then same, obviously, for the tornado warning to the north of you guys, up towards Pryor Creek. That's Oklahoma right now, and pretty much covered Missouri. There's still the one radar hole tornado here. Yeah, there's like super, we can see kind of just super roughly a broad rotating area, but it's really impossible to see what's going on at the ground level this far away from the radar site. So if you're in this area, Queen City up towards Lancaster, Missouri, you guys need to treat this as a tornado on the ground, because we won't know unless there's a confirmed report. Still watching this storm here near University Park in Eddyville in Iowa. Rotation broad right now coming up towards Eddyville. And also watching this storm here near Pella with some larger hail. It was rotating earlier, but not seeing as much at the moment. So that's some good news there. There's a big mess of storms along I-80 and US 30 right now, with the tornado warned storm here near Traer, moving up towards Dysart, Buckingham, Eagle Center, and LaPorte City. You guys all need to be taking your tornado safety precautions. These are moving pretty quick up here too, so. And this one in particular, let's see, it's moving at 55 miles an hour. So that'll put it around LaPorte City at in about 10 minutes. Dysart, you got about 5 minutes. So, yeah, these are moving pretty quick here. So we're starting to see rain on the big camera here in Cedar Falls and Waterloo Metro. We're about to get a pretty good surge of wind coming across this part of Iowa. Not seeing a lot of rotation in this storm that's coming towards our camera at the moment. Still seeing some here near Waverly and points north of Waverly on 218. So keep in your tornado safe space there. And then Rochester, Minnesota, you guys are under a considerable threat. Severe thunderstorm warning. This is pushing along I-90 here. Marion, St. Charles, Lewiston in southeast Minnesota. We also have that tornado warning east of Menominee. There's some rotation in here near I-94. Yeah, this is a little bit farther from the radar too, so it's hard to see what's going on in this storm. But yeah, if you're in the storm here, Colfax, Red Cedar, Elk Mound, you guys need to be in your tornado safe space. Taking a look at the camera here, this looks like another area there's light traffic right now, so hopefully maybe people got home from work early and can let the storm pass. Seeing if there's any update here from the on any of these tornado warnings. Let's go down to Tulsa. Still have our rotation in here. It's near Harmony Star, moving towards Pryor Creek. And we're a little close to the radar site, so it's getting a little bit of contamination from the CC. Hard to see what's exactly going on in there. But that is an interesting storm. So is this one here near Bixby. It's got the considerable threat for large hail. Not rotating on radar. Trying to see if there's any updates here. Alright, let's see. So the Storm Prediction Center is still highlighting the area in northeast Iowa as the strongest kind of tornado corridor here, just touching southwest Wisconsin. But that's the area that just a little bit ago they said it is the concerning this watch area is the intense to potentially violent tornado threat over the next couple hours. So yeah, that and we've seen a few damaging long track tornadoes here in Iowa today. So Iowa has had quite a bit of severe weather in the last month or two. We're now seeing a large thunderstorm here moving kind of northeast near Bonaparte. This has a considerable threat. Quarter-size hail, 70-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to come up towards Fairfield, Mount Pleasant, Wayland, Winfield, and Brighton in southeast Iowa. And then still have that ongoing tornado warning near Queen City, Missouri. Really hard to see what's going on there. Some good news, I can clear some more areas. Kansas City on the Kansas and Missouri side, you get a great evening. Look at the sideways rain that's going on the camera here. Right now here in Iowa, or that is Cedar Falls, and we maybe just lost the camera. These cameras just don't transmit during the heaviest weather. There we go. Okay, it's back. Yeah, there's sheets of rain moving across that camera right now, and on the road too. Yeah, you can see the wash actually just kind of dumping off that bridge. That is really heavy rain. Let's just scoot up there and I'll show you the radar presentation of what's going on. Cedar Falls, considerable threat, 70-mile-an-hour wind. Yeah, so we're seeing that surge of wind here. Pushing across the Cedar Falls area here. Wow. Nothing imminently tornadic in that part of the storm. The camera's actually like rocking back and forth. That's some pretty intense wind. I think we're confirming that. Tornado warning ongoing here north of Waverly up towards Nashua. That's a bit of a mess. And then we have a number of considerable threats, severe thunderstorms here. Rochester down to Winona, Minnesota, and eventually pushing towards La Crosse, Wisconsin. There are some areas here with notches that we have to watch for anytime along the leading edge of these. But so far nothing imminently tornadic. You can see how fast they're moving. As one scan, the reflectivity is ahead of the velocity here. But essentially, okay, there's the notch on the velocity. That notch is actually over here on the reflectivity. So these are moving like super quick. Let me see if it gives you a considerable threat. 70 mile an hour. Yeah. Let's see. giving a... Anyway, treat these like they're a tornado warning, especially with that kind of wind coming at you. Minneapolis, you're basically just going to get rain and general thunderstorms. It looks like the rest of the evening, the tornado threat is pretty much clear, you guys. So good news there for Minneapolis. A lot of the major cities here, and even Des Moines. Des Moines, you guys are clear of the severe weather now that this is all... essentially, I guess the I-35 corridor is clear of the severe weather. Minneapolis down to Des Moines, down to Kansas City, Wichita, Oklahoma, and down towards Dallas. It doesn't look like much is going on here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I guess I'm not fully ready to clear Dallas yet, but up from Kansas City north along I-35, you guys are good. This is all east of I-35 now. Davenport, Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Madison, Galesburg, Quincy. You guys all have more to go. And, yeah. So still seeing that circulation here near Okaloosa, University Park. That would, if it continues up towards Rose Hill, Gibson, and Watcheer. Don't think we have anything on the ground there, but that's a little bit further from a radar site, so it's hard to see that 100% too. Some strong winds here near Grinnell in central Iowa. And then still have that tornado warning storm. The rotation is actually pushing up here between Dysart and Eagle Center. So if that does get a new tornado warning, it'd probably include something like this. Jessup, Independence, Hazleton, maybe. Again, not seeing really much from the rotation here through Cedar Falls, but we're seeing that strong wind like we just saw. And then we're seeing a few storms that are popping up out ahead of the line. This they're moving more north than east. So this one is moving from the Anamosa area up to the areas north and west of Dubuque, with some small hail and gusty winds. Not seeing any rotation there. And then the same for that storm that was south here towards Fairfield and Mount Pleasant. That one's also moving more north than east. And again, not showing much rotation, but considerable threat, 1-inch hail and 70-mile-an-hour wind. Okay, good news for Missouri is that severe thunderstorm with the tornado potential near Coal Camp, that has weakened and not really seeing any rotation there anymore. There's still a pretty strong storm here near Warsaw. This is over Truman Reservoir, so hopefully no one's boating out in this area or fishing. But that is a pretty good strong surge of winds pushing out through Warsaw. It's going to be headed over towards Climax Springs, Laurie, Barnett, Eldon, Versailles, and Stover. Considerable threat, 70-mile-an-hour winds, golf ball size hail, and a tornado possible. And yeah, we could get, if any of this area here tightens up, there's a potential there. There's kind of a shear line as those winds are surging out to the south of there. So we could get one of those situations where winds gust out here, and then a circulation forms back in this part here, north of Waverly. If that did develop, it's coming over towards Versailles and Barnet. Right now, not seeing anything that's imminently tornadic, but just watching that area if it wraps up a little tighter. Otherwise, southwest Missouri around Joplin just has some general thunderstorms, kind of some strong storms to your southwest, but non-tornadic near Pritchard. And then the storm that was tornado warned near Pryor Creek has broadened significantly, so we're back to just a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. Still have that same kind of situation here near Coweta and Wagner. 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. The hail seems to be coming down a little bit in these storms in Oklahoma, so that's good to see. Still a couple areas here to watch. Those are going to move over towards Tahlequah and Stillwell, and then some of these may push into northwest Arkansas. So Springdale, Rogers, Fayetteville, Bella Vista, you guys are not out of the woods yet. We need to watch those storms there. The severe warned storm south of Fort Smith near Boonville, Arkansas, has gone below severe limits. Maybe some gusty winds and small hail in that one. And then still a stronger storm here near Paris, Texas. But otherwise, Texas has been pretty quiet this evening. Still seeing the strong winds on that camera and the rain, but we're starting to see, I think, the back edge of it. You can start to see the light poking out just along the top center part of that camera. It's a little darker off to the left or off to the right. A couple of new severe thunderstorm warnings. We're going to pick up a warning. This was that storm that was near Liberal earlier. It had a bit of rotation. It still does. It still does in here. South of Montevallo towards Jericho Springs and approaching Stockton. So Stockton Lake, if you know anyone boating out on Stockton Lake, give them a call. Let them know there's a storm coming. This is still a storm to watch there. Quarter-size hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds with that storm. Also had a new considerable threat severe thunderstorm. This is for that same complex of storms that's lifting up through Winfield, Mount Pleasant, Wayland. I think they just kind of stretched it out because there's a bit more to that storm. It was kind of running the southern edge of that original warning, so this just kind of stretches that out more. Winfield, Wapello, and Mount Pleasant, you guys are all in that. Also a new severe thunderstorm warning for half-dollar size hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds for this storm here near Rochester, Iowa. Coming up towards Tipton, Loudon, Clarence, Lost Nation, and Baldwin. And then we mentioned those storms earlier. We're going to slide up west of Dubuque. There's also a new severe thunderstorm warning here for Platteville, Wisconsin. That's going to move up towards Highland, Spring Green, and Dodgeville in Wisconsin. And then a new observed tornado warning. This is that area that was, this is one of those notches that we talked about earlier, to treat these like a tornado warning up here, or the considerable threat, severe thunderstorms. Wow, look how fast that moves. The last scan, it was back further. Yeah, that is a ongoing tornado here. This is right in southern Minnesota, near Bethany, Minnesota, coming up towards Rolling Stone, Whitman, Minnesota City. And then this is the Mississippi River here with Wisconsin. Fountain City, I'd be in your safe space too, even though you're just outside of this warning. Minnesota City, Rolling Stone, Whitman, should slide south of Oak Ridge. But it's a pretty strong circulation here. I think this is the strongest we've had in Minnesota today. And that is a ongoing damaging tornado in Minnesota. And this is a quickly moving storm, so this is going to be on you guys real quick here towards the river, towards the Mississippi River here. This is moving very quickly here at 45. Radar confirmed tornado moving northeast at 45. So let's see. Rolling Stone, you got 3 minutes or less. Yeah, Rolling Stone, you got 3 minutes or less. Whitman, about 5 minutes. And then Checkville, that's in Wisconsin. You guys have a about 10 minutes or less. Let's see, we're getting a giant severe thunderstorm warning for the Wisconsin side of this cluster of storms. This is a considerable threat, 70-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah, hail is becoming less of an issue with these storms, but still it has a damaging tornado here coming towards Rolling Stone, Minnesota. Again, we're seeing that right in here. It's going to be very quickly over to the Mississippi River. I doubt we have a traffic cam in this part of Minnesota, but let me see real quick if we do. So right now we only have 3 tornado warnings. This is only our observed one. 2 are in Iowa, and then our other one here is observed. It's coming really close here into Rolling Stone, Minnesota. And it's honestly, this is moving so quick, it's probably in Rolling Stone. Alright, let's see here. Cameras. Ooh, let's see. Yeah, we don't really have a good camera in that part of Minnesota. But yeah, this is likely pushing through Rolling Stone now. It's a really actually tight couplet here. So this is pretty impressive for this part of the country. And it's going to be kind of wrapped in this rain too, so we're really not going to see this very well. But once again, if you're just joining us, this is an ongoing damaging tornado here near Rolling Stone, Minnesota, and approaching Minnesota City, Whitman, Minnesota, and then into Fountain City and Checkville in Wisconsin. We're right along the Mississippi River here with a pretty nasty storm. This whole area is also warned for considerable threat, severe thunderstorms. We also have to watch the other little notches along this. But the only one right now that is producing a tornado, yeah, there's another one here near Buffalo City, and then another one up here near Kellogg and Alma. But look at this one here. This is actually really tight rotation. This is probably just came through Rolling Stone. The CC drop is still back a step, but if you look where the velocity is, it's right here. This is moving really quickly here off, probably about 50 miles an hour. So we're seeing about 56 on each inbound and outbound. They're really close together. That's a strong, tight little couplet. Just in this Rolling Stone, Minnesota, coming towards Whitman. The CC is still dragging behind a little bit, but there's your CC. And then here is your velocity. It's now basically at US 61 here, right along the Mississippi River. Surprised this hasn't been extended. With how quickly it's moving, if you're out ahead of this, Fountain City, Checkville, whatever is out ahead of this, I would be in your tornado safe space here. Even up towards Glencoe, Wisconsin, I would be up in your safe space. Also watching that area here, near Buffalo City. There's a couple areas along this line that, if you're out ahead of this, I'd be in your tornado safe space just to be extra cautious here. The next one that we might see spin up, this is more of a QLCS situation here, near Cochrane, Wisconsin here. This is just crossed from Minnesota. Basically along the bluffs here of the Mississippi River. And then this one too is about to cross into Wisconsin. So the CC hasn't updated in a couple minutes. Okay, there it is right here. CC just updated. This is crossing into Wisconsin here without a tornado warning. I'm surprised about that. There it goes. Okay. Alright. Yeah, a little close for comfort there. They're going to warn this whole line, which is actually probably the right thing to do because there are, as I mentioned earlier, there's a couple different circulations in here. One we know is ongoing. This one here is ongoing. But there's a good number of them that could form. Actually, there's another one south of Fountain City. So yes, as I said earlier, if you're out ahead of this line, treat it like it's a tornado warning. That's what the National Weather Service is going to do. So Wilson, Homer, Winona in Minnesota, and then Wisconsin, Dodge, Fountain City, Arcadia, Glencoe, Wilmandy, Montana, Wisconsin, Medina, Gilmanton. If you're along the Mississippi River here, from Winona up to Buffalo City and Alma, you guys need to be in your tornado safe space. Yeah, there's definitely potential here for a couple areas of rotation, and they're moving super quick. So I think the one still may be on the ground near Fountain City. I can't really tell if there's the one near Buffalo City. These type of spin-ups along the line here can be actually so quick that they spin up and produce tornadoes even between the radar scans. So the radar scans every 3 to 4 minutes. But yeah, sometimes you may get a tornado that's so brief we don't even see the CC. This is an ongoing tornado here. We're now seeing it cross the Mississippi River. So here it came across Rolling Stone, Minnesota, and now seeing it over here on the Wisconsin side. This is between Czechville and Fountain City. Yeah, this one is still going here. It's between Czechville and Fountain City. There's also another area rotation right there. Again, treat this whole line like it's a tornado. There's at least probably 3 to 4 areas of circulation here. Let's see, there's one here. There was one up here. There's our ongoing tornado, likely right here. The one just south of there. There may be another one, I think, down here near the I-90 marker. 2, 3, yeah, there's like 5 different circulations right now. Yeah, there it is right here. This one. And even regardless of a tornado, these are gusty winds here to, 70 plus miles an hour. So treat it like it's a tornado if you're out ahead of that. Right now, Iowa is tornado warning free, so that's a good sign. There's still some rotation in this storm that was tornado warned earlier. If that re-intensifies, Marengo, Victor, Williamsburg. But also, let's check on this area. There's some rotation in here along US 30 near Belle Plaine. And then a lot of these out in front of the main line are being warned for hail and wind. I don't see a lot of circulations in those. That's one good thing. Same for the storm near Mount Pleasant. It doesn't have a lot of circulation, but it has some pretty gusty winds. 70-mile-an-hour winds possible with that considerable threat severe thunderstorm. And then there's also one more here with some hail and wind back towards Pulaski with 70-mile-an-hour winds. Checking in on Missouri, we still have some strong storms here near Elmer and La Plata. And then we also have a pretty strong storm, considerable threat for golf ball size hail and 70-mile-an-hour winds. This is coming into areas here around Versailles and approaching areas here around Lake of the Ozarks. So if you're in that area vacationing, you need to be in a safe place here away from the doors and windows. But a pretty good bowing segment of winds here is pushing out towards Eldon, Osage Beach, Versailles, Laurie, and Stover. Likely a little bit of small hail in there. You can see it on the velocity too. You can see this surge of wind in here. That'll eventually be over toward Laurie, Eldon, and Osage Beach. So you got a few minutes to get into a sturdy shelter, but please do so as quickly as you can. Still watching that area down here near Stockton. Right now it's just a quarter-size hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds as a primary threat. And then also watching some pretty sizable storms down here in areas east of Tulsa. This one still has some spin in it. This was a tornado warned storm earlier as it came across near Verdigris and kind of broadened out near Pryor Creek. It does seem to be tightening back up a little bit near Locust Grove and Salina, and it's going to generally ride along 412, so a pretty well-traveled highway here. Wouldn't be surprised if this gets another tornado warning. Yeah, it's got a little bit of spin in here. So we'll have to watch this one as it comes across here towards Colcord in Kansas, Oklahoma. And 412 goes all the way into the northwest Arkansas metro area. So we do have to watch you guys later. Bella Vista down to Fayetteville in Arkansas this evening. The other storm that's pretty strong south of Tulsa has weakened pretty significantly in the Broken Arrow down to Wagner areas. But a new storm has increased and upscaled. This one near Beggs, Oklahoma, with primarily a hail threat, $half size hail, and 60-mile-an-hour winds. So interesting, interesting development of what's going on here. Right now we just have one tornado warning, but it is a massive tornado warning, and it covers at least 5 different circulations the last we checked. There's one in here, there's one here, one here, maybe an ongoing tornado there. That's 4, and then I got kind of scrolled down. There's at least another one, I think, here near Homer. So yeah, I think we still got 5 circulations in here. This one may be the one that was still on the ground. Wouldn't be shocked if that's still it. Came across here near Fountain City and Rolling Stone. Hard to say because these are on the leading edge, and now it looks a lot more broken up. So that's a good thing, but yeah, treat this whole area like it's a tornado warning, and it is a tornado warning. But treat it all like it's a tornado if you're out ahead of this. Glencoe, Arcadia, Independence, Wisconsin, Montana, Wisconsin, up towards Gilmanton, and if that extends out, Mondavi and Russell. This is a bit of a less populated part of Wisconsin here, but still need to treat it seriously. Also, we're going to have this line of storms running into this cluster of storms, so that can create some issues too. So we'll see what happens. How is all this moving up in here? Yeah, so we have this cluster of storms is moving at a different speed. They're moving kind of northeast still, but this whole line of storms is about to slam this cluster from behind here. And so we're going to get some localized convergence on a line that's already created some spin-ups. Starting to get some stronger storms here in the Dubuque area. South of Dubuque, near Bernard. That storm has some pretty good hail likely in it. And then also we're getting some pretty strong storms here near Wayland and Winfield, Columbus Junction. It does seem like the tornado threat has decreased, overall decreased a bit. Let me check on what the Storm Prediction Center has to say. So, likely a new watch coming for somewhere up in this area ahead of that line of storms. Tornado threat will increase as thunderstorms move into a favorable low-level shear environment. Tornado watch is likely for this area, basically in central Wisconsin. That would cover Eau Claire, Merrill, Wausau, Stevens Point, Fond du Lac, Oshkosh, Appleton, Green Bay. So we should probably get a new tornado watch for that area. We also have a new tornado watch just a few minutes ago. It should pop in here. Yeah, it's already in here. Let's see. It's basically east of Springfield, Columbia, up to northeast Missouri, south of basically Galesburg. It's this whole area here, essentially. That includes Springfield, Quincy, Galesburg, think Kirksville, you were on the edge of the original watch. Columbia, Jefferson City, Rolla, down towards West Plains, Missouri. So essentially eastern Missouri and west central Illinois. This is a new tornado watch until midnight. So until midnight. Let's see. A few tornadoes are likely, scattered hail up to 2 inches likely, and 75-mile-an-hour wind gusts are likely. Yeah, that includes Branson, West Plains, Fort Leonard Wood, Four Seasons Village, Rolla, St. Louis, St. Charles, Troy, Columbia, Jefferson City, Hannibal, all in Missouri. And then in Illinois, Quincy, Jacksonville, Macomb, and Galesburg. So a continuation, extension, whatever you want to kind of call it, of the original watch. That is now for Missouri. And that's till midnight. All right, checking in on our one tornado warning. It's all right now in Wisconsin. And the line of storms is about to leave the warned area, but still seeing a few areas of circulation that we have to watch. Whether this whole area is warned or not, if you're out ahead of it, I would kind of treat it like a tornado warning. So Blair, Independence, Osseo, Mondovi, or Mondovi, areas kind of south of Eau Claire. Just if you can get to your tornado safe space and hunker down, it's a good idea to do that, because this whole area definitely has had some spin-ups. And we're seeing a really good surge of wind now pushing towards La Crosse, Wisconsin. This is right here in the areas where Wisconsin, Iowa, and Minnesota all get together. But those are some pretty gusty winds headed towards you guys. There's kind of two interesting things here. The original line of storms still has severe thunderstorm warnings, but there's been a cluster of new storms that have developed in eastern Iowa and western southwest Wisconsin. Those have all now gone severe warn 2, and they're moving a slightly different direction. They're moving a little more north. Yeah, they're moving a little more northeast, where the line was moving more east. New tornado warning though, and this is for that area here. Oh yeah, this is a pretty strong rotation here near Garrison, and it's going to come up towards Vinton. We should have a traffic cam over here, so let me see. Really coming down here. This is a traffic cam up along 380 here between LaPorte City and Brandon. So probably our best look at this part of the storm. But yeah, Garrison, Iowa, up towards Mount Auburn, Brandon, Vinton, Urbana, Raleigh. You guys all need to be in your tornado safe space, as well as Independence, Winthrop, and Casketon in Iowa. You guys all need to be in your tornado safe space. right now a radar indicated storm here moving northeast at 65. It is 9 miles south of Vinton and moving northeast at 65. We can map this out. Okay, let's map it out from here. Come on. Garrison 1 minute less. Brandon about 10 minutes. Casketon about 24, and Winthrop about 28. Brandon, that's along 380 here, so anywhere along 380 you got about 10 minutes. Mount Auburn about 5. So we're at Mount Auburn right in here. So yeah, not a lot of time if you're in this area here. And even out towards Casketon, you got about maybe 15 or 20 minutes. We can see the wind and the rain blowing sideways here along I-380. I think our camera is right up in this area, just about to get into some of the heaviest wind and rain of this storm. But our camera is looking out towards the area that would have the rotation. Hold on a minute. Okay, we're back. Again, I got the dogs in the studio today, so sometimes they need something. Yeah, still watching a tornado possible here. Very quickly moving up towards the I-380 corridor. Brandon, Raleigh, Casketon, Winthrop, and Independence in Iowa. With a storm here near Garrison. It's has a couple areas actually of circulation here that are worth watching. Kind of on the leading edge of this gusting surge here. But that's coming up quickly here towards Independence, Iowa. Tornado warnings have been dropped in Wisconsin for the moment. I say that for the moment because there's still a couple areas of spin, but we'll really have to kind of see how they are interacting with the storms here along the I-95 corridor. We have two areas of storms. They're both essentially moving the same direction, but this line of storms, the better structured line of storms, is moving a lot faster than the ones here along I-95, I-94. So they're about to interact with each other. We'll see what comes out of that. We have a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings now here in Wisconsin. Not seeing a lot of rotation with these storms. They're all being warned for quarter-size hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds pretty much is what they're being warned for now, so that is a good thing. We have seen the hail warnings come down. Earlier there were some stronger areas of hail. Still a stronger area of hail here, half-dollar size near La Plata, Missouri. And then storms have significantly been weaker here in Missouri so far. So there are some stronger storms out here by the Lake of the Ozarks. So we need to watch these here near Versailles and Lori. Considerable threat for golf ball size hail. And they're actually going to extend this out. 60-mile-an-hour winds. I'm kind of more inclined with the considerable threat one. But 70-mile-an-hour winds, golf ball size hail, maybe a tornado possible. There is some rotation in here south of Versailles that we're seeing. So we have to watch that. And then still watching storms here in Oklahoma. I mentioned a few minutes ago that the storm was wrapping up again near Locust Grove. Still has rotation in here. Not seeing a debris signature with the CC, so that's just radar indicated. We'll have to watch this one. These two storms here are pretty strong thunderstorms. They're right now between the Tulsa Metro off to the Tulsa, Oklahoma, off to the left there, and then we have a pretty good-sized population in northwest Arkansas. A bunch of smaller cities all kind of clustered together. If you're not aware of this area, instead of one big city, it's kind of a few, but a pretty good population in here, and the severe storms in Oklahoma are headed that direction, so definitely have to watch them. Moving east is about 30. They're still a good ways out. They're about 70 to 90 minutes from parts of the northwest Arkansas metro. And then still watching these storms here south of Tulsa near Okmulgee. That one is a particularly strong storm. Half-dollar size hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. Has a little bit of rotation in it. I have a couple new tornado warnings though in Wisconsin. It's for that same cluster of storms. They're going to continue out the large tornado warning. Again, we can see there's a few different areas of rotation in here, and they keep kind of popping up. But that's going to continue until through Blair, Black River Falls, Maryland, Fairchild, Osseo, all along I-94 here now. So again, treat this whole line like it's a tornado warning. So if you're out ahead of this Fairchild, Black River Falls, Osseo in Wisconsin, please be in your tornado safe space here. Lowest level, interior room, away from doors and windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Also seeing some tornado possible tag here for this storm near La Plata, Missouri. There is some rotation in here. That's going to be coming up towards La Belle, Adena. And the storm here near Memphis may be the same kind of storm too. It's hard to say if there's a lot of rotation in that. Yeah, this is a big, massive storm. Okay, here is, mentioned earlier, but here is now the visual of that new tornado watch that covers actually a lot of Wisconsin, a little more than I even thought. It's going to cover the peninsula here, out towards Sturgeon Bay, Sister Bay, Algoma, Twin Rivers. This includes areas along I-43 here, Green Bay, Merrill, Medford, Marshfield, Stevens Point, Wisconsin Rapids, Oshkosh, Fond du Lac, Beaver Dam. Or Beaver Dam, I think, was in the original tornado watch. So, yeah, new tornado watch here covers a bunch of Wisconsin now. And that also goes until midnight. So a few tornadoes are likely, scattered hail up to quarters, widespread wind gusts up to 80 miles an hour are likely. So they're really accentuating the high wind threat. Yeah, Eau Claire, Sparta, Wausau, Stevens Point, Appleton, all included in that new tornado watch. Posted a few more clips here. From Greenfield, Iowa. There's I guess a drone shot of the damage. It looks like the tornado just ripped a swath right through the middle of the town. Yeah, that's going to be a strong tornado, I think we're going to see out of that. Unfortunately, looks like another strong, significant, to maybe even violent tornado cut across a pretty populated town. A bunch of new warnings here in Wisconsin now. Small hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds are at least likely here in these ones. But then the considerable threat 70-mile-an-hour tag is for this cluster here pushing through La Crosse, Wisconsin. This cluster here between Eau Claire and La Crosse, this has had your more significant damaging wind core. That's going to continue to push across the new tornado watch here. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it interacts with, we're going to start to see it interact more with the cluster storms here along I-94. It may just kind of solidify this whole thing and organize it more. Otherwise, down here in southern Wisconsin, Platteville, around the Dubuque area, just a messy cluster of storms with quarter-size hail and some 60-mile-an-hour winds. This area is a little less organized. And still a destructive tag on 80-mile-an-hour winds outside of the tornado warning. So beyond a tornado, please treat this like it's a Please treat this like it's a tornado. There's still circulation showing up in here, coming up towards Independence and Winthrop. We're starting to get on the back end of it here on our camera. It's getting lighter as that storm is now pushed off. Okay, let me test the audio again, just now that we're back. Another dog break. They're a little needy today. I apologize for taking so many breaks. But let me just make sure everything's good. Okay, I think we're back on here. Okay. Well, now I don't hear myself, so let me check this out. Okay, I do hear myself now. Good news is tornado warning has expired there for that area of Independence and Casketon. We have 5 tornado warnings right now. A couple now in Missouri, so let's go check on those. So there's one that we mentioned earlier that had some rotation that has spun up, it looks like, again near Versailles and Eldon and Olean, Missouri. This is in the Lake of the Ozarks area. Yeah, you can see it was a little stronger, I think, over here by Versailles. And then it's broadened back out near Barnett, Missouri. But still a tornado warning there, and also $half size hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. So if you're out in this area, Barnett, Olean, and Eldon, you guys need to be in your tornado safe space at least a few more minutes. This is a pretty strong cluster of storms with some damaging winds, also headed towards Jefferson City, Missouri, the capital, Missouri. So small hail and damaging winds are a big threat there. Kind of a cluster of storms developing west of St. Louis. None of those are severe right now. The damaging winds could be a potential as that cluster organizes. Right now it's just a bunch of lightning and some gust winds.